criadora do método Network Focused Design e autora do livro Metaproducts, Meaningful Design for Our Connected World. E do card 75 Tools for Creative Thinking. Apresentando Network Focused Design, Sara Córdoba Rubino.
Hi, hello. Hello and welcome and thanks for coming. My name is Sara Córdoba Rubino. I am a strategic designer at Strategic Interaction Design Studio Booreiland. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about me first. Doing it. Hold on a second. No. Well, in this photo you can see actually my street in Mexico. And as you can see, the name of my street is Recife. And you might think it's just a coincidence, but I think it was meant to be. And I love it here, and I feel at home. However, right now I live in the Netherlands. I live in Amsterdam already for 5 years, a little bit more than 5 years. In Mexico, I studied industrial design. I was working as an industrial designer. Then I moved a little bit into design management and ended up studying a postgraduate program in the Netherlands and ended up working there. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my work and in the office I work with. And this is the office I work in. It's called Booreiland. So we do strategic interaction design. We like to combine business and technology and design, of course, to create interactive products. Our team is quite small. I'm going to present our team. This is our team. This is our base. We are 5 people, so we are very small. I don't know how many people here are in such a small team or work as a freelancer. Then I think this might be interesting for you. As a small team, we have lots of challenges. We need to be very flexible. We need to not have very strict roles in the things we do. But it also gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of opportunities to collaborate with other experts and creatives. It allows us to be free to have projects with big corporations, but also with small corporations or small companies, freelancers, and our own projects that sometimes are a little bit crazy. But we like that. So this is another phase of Booreiland with our small team. As you can see, I'm not a professional speaker. I have to admit that I am a little bit intimidated by all the great speakers that have been here. But I will try to compensate by showing you nice images like this. Well, just for you to have a little bit of an overview of what we do. We started until today, we do design. We do visual design like websites, portals, apps, interfaces, visual identities. We still do print. We do all kinds of social media integration, infographics, either interactive or dynamic or static. For example, like this. This is a portal where we integrated social media, and it's also customizing web shop where people can customize their own bicycles. There are e-bikes, so electronic bikes. That's just an example. This is another example. That's another website. We created a visual identity, and we created all kinds of infographics, translated very complex data into much more appealing visuals, and much more accessible, and that you could interact with to understand this complex data about the population and about statistics, etc. And one last little example that I'm going to show is this. This is an example of social media integration when we do campaigns. This was a campaign where we integrated a game to find an animal in South Africa. It was meant to promote the tourism in South Africa. Well, that's actually these examples are more our operational design services, but we've recently started with strategic services. We have 5 strategic services, and those. All of those are aimed to actually help us design better. That was actually the main reason we started strategic services. For example, creative concepting. That's like this one. That's a service we use to co-create with our clients and generate lots of ideas. Brand studies are about understanding where's the visual differentiation between one brand and another. Customer journeys, you've heard of them, is understanding where your brand stays in contact with your customer. Online strategies and network-focused design. Well, I'm going to talk about more in detail, but all of these strategic services are actually more about asking why. Why are we designing a portal or an app or an interface or whatever we are doing? So this why question is the reason we created this new business line of our services. But today I want to talk to you a little bit more in detail about network-focused design. This has a special story behind. This started actually as a research project. It was actually part of my graduation project in the University of Delft in the Netherlands. And in this research project, together with Booreiland as well, we interviewed people, professionals and academics, and we asked them what was it to design for our connected world. The name of the book is called Metaproducts, Meaningful Design for Our Connected World. And the reason why we did that was because we were intrigued on what is actually happening in the design world, either in academic world or in industry, and in the whole spectrum of design, not only product design. What's happening over there in relationship with the new technologies. So what's happening when we are designing for our connected world? So we asked a lot of people. We wrote this book, which you can buy in Amazon. And we got to some conclusions. Well, we got to some conclusions. Those are basically challenges and opportunities. The opportunities are, most of the time, it's very attractive. In this illustration, we are seeing that nowadays all these interfaces that we design, as Booreiland or maybe you as designers, have the potential to be connected with other services, with other people, with environments. The potential nowadays to embed intelligence into objects, for example, or even into our environments, is bringing us to a whole new dimension in the way we design things. And it's not a new thing per se, as some speakers said before. As human beings, we've always liked to connect with each other. We've always If we could make things faster because it's more useful, we will do it. If we can shorten distances because it helps us simplify our lives, we will do it. The only difference now, if there's a difference, is just that technology is allowing us to connect even more, to simplify things more, and designers have a crucial, very important role in this. But it also brings lots of challenges, not only to designers, but to any kind of creative entrepreneur or corporation or organization. One of them is that we actually have to design our services or products or interfaces as, if you could see it as a world of APIs, of application processing interfaces. Imagine that you design a product with open ends in which other products can connect or talk to. That nowadays is not really happening. Most of our products and even our services are very much isolated, very much working on its own interests, and that's bringing quite a challenge in terms of the way we design or the way we create things. There's also another challenge, of course, also very interesting and appealing opportunity to have all kinds of interfaces. As I said before, the potential to embed intelligence into objects or into our environment, to gather data, to collect it, to analyze it, to share it, is increasing nowadays as our technology advances, as it becomes cheaper, as it becomes more accessible and more robust. We still have a lot to do in that regard, but we are heading there. And it brings us also lots of decisions about what kind of interfaces are we designing. The spectrum is growing, and we have a Google Glass, but it can also be a connected car, could be our wearable electronics, could be augmented reality, and you can make a very long list. But the core of this is that as creative entrepreneurs or as designers, our decision-making process becomes even more complex than it was before. This goes in line or together with the ability nowadays to collect data, to generate data. Each of you right now are generating data, corporations even more, organizations, and there is a data overload going on. We don't know, we're not pretty sure what to do with this data. And to show you a little bit of an example, what we did at Booreiland, this is called That Can Be My Next Tweet. It's quite useless. It's an application and an app that takes all your tweets ever, your history of tweets, and there's an algorithm behind that tries to mimic your future tweets. And it tries to do it in a kind of grammatically correct construction, but it never makes sense. For example, here you can see that's a tweet, the next tweet of Booreiland, automatically generated by That Can Be My Next Tweet. Is why create a super pro cool easy tool for Santa Claus or a lovely designer is up for their, well, anything. Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, nobody really reads all our tweets, so we can make automatic tweets like that. But what it shows, this is pretty much just a funny thing, but it shows that that we can collect the data in so many different ways and associate it in so many different ways, and it can be quite overwhelming. What's actually meaningful? What's actually useful for us to come up with by using this data? Another challenge is that teams nowadays, not only designers but multidisciplinary teams, we have always had the need to be rich in our skills. But nowadays we have to master some skills. We have to master the skills, and that's the puppet doing, shifting our mindsets from thinking in a very holistic way, where we can see the whole big picture, and then shifting very quickly to a very analytical perspective, analytical mindset, but also play along with our intuition, because we cannot see everything. There are so many soft aspects in the process, so we have to be intuitive as well. And at the same time, our teams have to be very systematic, very process-driven, so to say. So the skill set is quite special, and teams nowadays need these skills to design for this connectedness. And the last challenge, or opportunity, however you want to call it, is that it's not only about the teams and how they shift their mindsets and how they collaborate between different disciplines, but corporations and organizations and just companies need to collaborate more than ever before. If you remember the first image, you saw a car and your phone and another service somewhere else in the cloud, and products, etc., connected, giving you, or in the near future, your fulfilling your needs. We need companies to collaborate. We need companies to be open. We need companies to find their common ground. And that's hard nowadays. So those were the challenges we saw, and we thought, okay, what can we do? What can we do to solve or to overcome those challenges? And we thought of NFT, like a network focus design, as a way to enable people and organizations to collaborate and to build networks. Also to make sense, we wanted to make sense of this overwhelming potential of uses of data. And we also wanted something that could help us not get lost and really design the valuable interactions, the valuable services, to really identify the value for not only the user, but all the actors in the network, all the stakeholders in the network. And lastly, we wanted to find a way to encourage all these actors and all these stakeholders to adopt the right mindset and the right attitude to take advantage of all these technologies that are becoming omnipresent. So, what is NFT? Network Focus Design. Maybe I will steal a bit Mark's sentence before. Network Focus Design is a term that we needed to put here to communicate this, that we wanted an approach that could fit any designer or creative entrepreneur or any team of innovation to design for a connected world by practicing empathy to understand the complexity of the context, but also to find innovation between the intersections, in the intersections between disciplines, and to also encourage these corporations, these designers, to think about how value is exchanged between products and services and environments, etc. And the very important thing, at least for us as designers, is to always think of data as a living material. You can name it as a living material or as the fuel that empowers these networks that are between people, services, products, and environments. And we are a very small team. That's why I presented our team before. And we cannot do it alone, and it would be impossible to do this alone. So our preferred way, or what we chose to do, as many other creative companies, we do workshops. And in these workshops, we sit together with all the stakeholders. Even when they are a little bit clashing, we put them together in a table, and we guide them. We invite experts on the table to innovate. And it looks pretty much like that, as you see here. We use also, let's say, the tools that we created, but they're also quite flexible. It's more of a framework to guide the participants to adopt all these messages. But we also are very flexible and use other types of creative techniques that can go from a customer journey to a mind map to simple brainstorming and so on and so forth. This, by the way, is a publication also of Booreiland. It contains 75 tools, and they are divided in different phases of an innovation process or a design process, and tries to make or invite other people that are outside the design world to use these design tools, to use these creativity tools. We've done NFT, or network-focused design, in different sectors. As you can see, like retail, in logistics, in health and security, sustainability, and software. And we've done it for business to business or business to consumer or both. But now I'm going to show you a bit of a case that we did for a retail project. This was a company, an optics store. They came to us with a problem. There are actually more than 70. It's not so much for Brazilian standards, but in the Netherlands, it's a company that has 70 stores in the Netherlands that they sell glasses. And they had actually a very simple problem. And it's not that they couldn't think of a solution, but it was more a problem about how to bring the right people together to align a certain mindset and to really collaborate with their technology or with whatever they can contribute in their resources into creating a better network. This was more or less the team. We had 5 different companies, 5 different stakeholders, the optics stores, the different optics stores, all decision makers, also the glasses companies, different glasses companies, and even the transport companies and some other stakeholders. And we guided these 5 companies by including and co-creating together with 2 network thinkers. Those are actually could be any designer that understands the complexity of designing networks. Actually, the team was also included a sensor wireless expert, communications expert, and business model expert, and last, a creative facilitator. And this shows, let's say, the ideal scenario of how it should work, how this optics store should work. Supposedly, you go there to the store as a consumer, you buy some glasses, then the shop registers the purchase, and the information goes to the system in the cloud, to the glasses producing company. And then the glasses producing company knows that, I don't know how many glasses have to be sent to fill in the inventory or the stock again. It's actually very simple. But the reality is that this doesn't work like that. So we try to encourage the companies to achieve this empathy in the context. And what's actually happening is that, you may know, it's very almost obvious, that when you go and try glasses, you try like 5 or 3, 4, whatever, and you never put them back in the same place. So you just shift them around, because it's just normal. You go to the mirror, and then you try some, and then you go to another mirror, or you're maybe with a friend, and then you swap, and then you just put them back and leave. Well, that brings actually a lot of problems to the stakeholders in the companies and our clients. Well, first is that the shop owners, the ones that are in the shop, they see, hey, I need more glasses in this rack of this brand. So they call the producing company, and the producing company says, hey, but I only have here registered just a few sold, so you must have them somewhere. So what happens in reality is that the producing company sends an inspector to all 70 shops in the Netherlands, in Holland, to verify how many glasses were actually sold. And that's just a lot of money. And on top, they have to check if the advertising on each rack per brand is accurate, if the price is correct. So it's very manual work from a very simple problem. And they realized that, but they didn't know how to tackle this. It seemed like a very simple problem. So we tried to help them in these workshops. We followed network focus design in 2 phases. And the first phase was more about not think about the technology at all. We explored the context. We encouraged them, once again, to gain empathy, to put themselves in the shoes, not only of the end consumer, but on the shoes of every stakeholder, every actor in their network. And by that, we actually plotted a network. And we actually could see where were the gaps, where were perhaps new stakeholders needed, or new values, or lack of values over there. And that was actually phase 1, what we did. We did it in 2 days, and then we continued with phase 2. And phase 2 is actually applying the technology to those relationships. In phase 1, we identified what kind of relationships in the network were valuable, or could seem valuable, or could be improved. And then in phase 2, then we started with the technology, applying the technology, brainstorming on data, associating business and sensor networks. So the second session, we try to really teach, let's say, or educate the stakeholders into taking advantage of these technologies, so that everybody or every single actor in the network could have a meaningful service, or could have something that they could make sense of, and that could actually work. We also manage expectations. As you can imagine, if you gather people that have never worked before, that they are from different companies, that they all have their own problems, even though they are in the same network, but they do have their own problems, and they want to solve them in their own way. It's quite a challenge to find this common ground, to find this innovation in the intersections of their knowledge. But the most important thing is to not only align the knowledge, but to align what they don't know, and to align what kind of questions they wanted to answer together. And that was what we aimed to have. And these four things were the common ground that all the stakeholders found interesting, and that they could get on board, and that they could get committed to work on. They wanted to have shopping insights. They wanted to track the consumer behavior, but they didn't want to make it intrusive. So they also wanted to increase the consumer experience, to make it more attractive and seamless, and just a better experience. They also wanted to improve the security. They wanted to just know where the glasses are and if they're missing. So they wanted to just have a way to see that. So visibility. And then last, they wanted to have a real-time stock management of where everything is, so to make it efficient. So this common ground had the two types of directions. On the one hand was optimizing internal processes, but on the other hand was enhancing the consumer experience. Most of the times, these two things don't go along, they clash. What we tried to do here was to actually make it into one complete system. In the end, we created a smart concept. It was actually it's the starting point of an iteration process in which we clearly know what to test, what we want to prototype, who are we going to ask what. So the concept is, we name it the next generation, next-gen optics store. It's an ecosystem of connected devices that delivers consumer insights and automatic stock management for retailers by using smart sensor technologies. So here you see the RFID tagged frames of the glasses. They're in the racks. We installed RFID reader slots that are connected to video screens. The video screens are and the safety cameras are working together to track behavior and to also push, let's say, advertising or marketing material, which is the consumer experience, trying to make it better, to let people know what fits, for example, or what doesn't fit on their face, or perhaps their style is a completely different thing. So it gives advice, but also it's connected to the management app on the store that controls the stock and security and actually all aspects of the logistics chain. And of course, it's connected all via the cloud. And as you can see, because I started saying that we as Booreiland, we design interfaces, we design websites and portals. And we still do that, but now we knew what was the whole network around it and how everything can be connected, and it has to make sense. We are in early stages of prototyping. We know that a lot of things that we did during network-focused design might not be true, or we will totally change things, but we accomplish having the stakeholders on the table and aligning their objectives and committing to work together. So this is more, this is part of the prototype of the management app that we are designing. There was some main insights on this particular project of the optics store. That some of the things are not entirely solved yet, and one of the things is data ownership. Yeah, data ownership seems like an old-fashioned thing, but it always comes like, who owns the data? Who manages the data? Who creates the data? Is the owner of the data? So that's still a question that maybe you have the answers. We still are a little bit struggling about that. Stakeholders' motivation, that was also one of the main insights. If the stakeholders, and not only these companies, but the whole, in the whole spectrum of the network, are not motivated to be part of this network and to exchange resources, it will fail. Expectations management, as I said, this was the first step of an iteration process. You cannot have a solution. Most of these companies, they are used to going there, not waste time, do it fast, and I want something to implement now. And that was what they got. But the expectations management was very important. How to collaborate together and to know more or less what kind of problems we would encounter along the way. And as I said, optimizing processes, enhancing customer experience can lead to new business models. So I want to conclude with what I already said before, and maybe it can help you in your own practice. My conclusions are, try to practice empathy to understand the context. There are so many tools out there, but don't forget to do that. Always try to put yourself in the shoes of the people around you and the network that you're building. Try to find always innovation on the intersections between disciplines. It doesn't work if disciplines are isolated and once in a while they meet. You really have to find these uncomfortable intersections and there find innovation. Think in networks, think in valuable connections, associate things that perhaps maybe before you didn't associate so easily, and try to find the value between these connections, in these connections. Collaborate and build networks, and use data as a living material. And this is it. Thank you very much.